Hello, and welcome to a video for Grade 12 Essential Math on home insurance. I'm going to take a look at home insurance, things you need to know, what it covers, and what will increase and decrease your cost. First off, home insurance is insurance that you buy to protect your house and the contents. When you're looking at home insurance, it'll usually protect you from things like fire or theft or damage from hail or stuff like that. One notable exception is overland flooding is usually not covered by standard home insurance, so it's worth checking with your insurance broker if you live near a river or something that floods regularly. Now, home insurance is different in a little bit from tenants insurance. Tenants insurance is what you get if you are renting a property. Tenants insurance only covers your stuff. So whatever you have, whether that's furniture or electronics or dishes or whatever that sort of stuff, tenants insurance will cover the cost of your stuff, whereas homeowners insurance covers the cost of your stuff plus the cost of the building if they need to replace that. So what affects the cost of your home insurance? Realistically, it comes down to two things: the insured value and the risk. The insured value is how much the insurance company will have to pay. So let's say that a meteor hits your house and completely wrecks it. The insurance company has to rebuild it from the ground up and replace all your stuff. If you have a lot more stuff or a more expensive house, it's going to cost them more, so you will pay more for your insurance. If you have something like a rider, say you have jewelry and you have a rider on your insurance to protect it in case of loss or theft, that will increase your insurance. Actually, not by that much. So if you have for example, a ring or something, it's worth looking at insuring it. If you get a different type of insurance, for example, standard versus comprehensive, each insurance company calls these something slightly different, but different types of insurance will cover different things. Deductible as well. Your deductible is how much you pay out of pocket before your insurance kicks in. So if you have a deductible of $500, you pay the first $500, the insurance company pays everything above that. If you have, say, a $200 deductible, you pay the first $200, and your insurance company pays everything above that. The lower the deductible, the more the insurance company would need to pay, so the more expensive your insurance. Also, if you do, for example, renovations, say you add a deck to the back of your house and it increases the value of your house will need to be appraised and assessed, and that will increase your insurance. And if you don't tell the insurance company about it, they won't replace it if it gets damaged. So the other thing with insurance is risk. First off, how much are you going to need to pay to replace your house? That's your insured value. And how likely are you to have a claim? So this might be, for example, where is your house? If your house is in a high crime location, you might pay more. Or if you're in an area that is close to a fire hall or far away from a fire hall. These are called fire zones. If you have a fire hydrant on your street or near your house, your insurance will be less than if you live far away from a town, example, more than 8 kilometers from the nearest fire hall. That'll be more expensive. Another thing is a no claims discount. If you do not make a claim in a year, your insurance cost will go down for the next year. With most insurance companies, this will last for about 10 years. So if you make a claim, it'll take about 10 or maybe a little bit more years for that to be wiped off and your insurance to go back down to the lowest rate. So if, for example, you have a house fire, the next year your insurance will be more expensive. Other things which can help reduce your risk are stuff like a smoke detector. If you have a fire alarm, and in fact, most insurance companies require you to have smoke detectors or fire alarms and carbon monoxide detectors, that will lower your insurance. Or a fireplace. If you have a fireplace, it will increase your insurance because there's a fire in your house. Even if it's in a fireplace, it means that your house is more likely to catch on fire. So what does this look like when we try and calculate this? Well, with insurance, we have a table we can use. We'll look at an example like that. But each insurance company has their own formula, an own way to calculate it, and will make their own offers. You can go online and use many tools there in order to estimate your insurance, or you can talk to an insurance broker who will look at many different companies and figure that out. But there's no nice and easy formula that we have to calculate this. So let's look at a couple of examples here that might show up in questions you might have to answer. So here we go. We have someone who has a house insurance policy with a deductible of $1,000. The idea is he'll pay the first $1,000 on any claim. The annual premium is $1,500, so that's how much you pay per year. Home insurance is usually calculated per year, and your premium here is your cost or what you're paying for the insurance. If no claim is made during the year, he receives a 10% discount on the premium the following year. Okay, so here we go. In year one, we're assuming that he has no prior history here. In year one, he makes no claim. But he doesn't get a discount this year. He gets a discount the second year because he didn't make a claim the first year. And then, notice this says before taxes. That's important to realize because home insurance does have PST on it, so it's important to check for stuff like that. So this question is saying, how much did he pay in total? Well, let's start this off. Let's say year one. How much did he pay for his premium? Well, he didn't get the discount the first year. So he pays $1,500. Okay. Year two, well, he does get the discount, so he saves 10% on this. How would you calculate saving 10%? Well, I could say, let's take that $1,500 times 10% as a decimal, and that works out to $150. So he saved $150, which works out to $1,350. So he's paying $1,350 per year the second year because he did not make a claim the first year. Great. That's awesome. So we've got these here. However, notice it says he made a claim here. We don't have a lot of details on this, but if you make a claim, you're not going to make a claim for less than the deductible. If you have a deductible of $1,000 and you only have $500 worth of damage to your house, you're not going to talk to the insurance company because your rate's going to go up. So he must have had more than this, so he has to pay the deductible. So he has to pay that $1,350 plus the $1,000 from the deductible. He does not have to pay that the first year because he didn't make a claim. So we have $1,500 the first year. Second year, he pays less for his premium, but he's going to pay the deductible as well. And we can add all of those up for a total of $3,850 for the 2 years. Great. One thing to note, year three, he would not get the discount because he made a claim in year two. But we're not asking about year three. Okay, let's take a look at a different example here, which is one where we can try and actually calculate the premium. So in this case, we have Stella, who's got a house in Winnipeg. We've got a house value here, and it's got a bunch of words here, but I'm going to actually say this here is important right now. Sometimes in an exam or in a test or something like that, you might get a chart like this with insurance rates. This is a way to estimate or calculate your insurance, and insurance companies may use something similar to this, but often they'll use a computer program that's far more complicated. However, looking at this, we can read this chart and figure out what's going on with this just by looking at the chart and how this works out. So I'm going to start by, first off, we know her house value is $215,000. She buys a comprehensive homeowner's insurance policy with a $500 deductible. Great. And it also says in Winnipeg. That's going to be important for us. So let's take a look back at this chart and see what we can figure out. Well, notice it says Winnipeg here. Great. We're going to be in Winnipeg, so we're going to be using these here. Notice it says comprehensive. We saw comprehensive in the question, so we must be using this column here to figure out her rate. It does say $500 deductible in the question. Great. That's awesome. So we know that already. And we're going to look and see along the side here if we can find the amount of her house. So I know I'm in this column here. As I go down here, I can see we have, this only goes to $200,000. So her house was $215,000. I'm going to need that number there. That's Winnipeg comprehensive, and for $200,000. This last line here says additional amounts. So over the $200,000, we're going to add $350. And it also has magic words here, which we've seen before, per $1,000. Per $1,000 means divide by 1,000. So let's see if we can figure this out. We're going to start off. There's my numbers here. Question. We know, so for the first 200,000, we got the value of $771 from the table here. Great. We also know she's got a house price of $215,000. How much is left over? Well, I can go 215, subtract the first 200,000, and that gets me 15,000. You can probably do this one in your head. This here's how much is left over. So now I'm going to use this here, and notice it's per 1,000. That tells us what to do. So the additional amount is $15,000 times that $350 per 1,000, which means divided by 1,000. And that gets me 5250. So this is the amount for the first 200,000. This is the amount for the next 15,000, or the additional 15,000. And now I just need to find the total by adding those together. 771 plus 5250 gets me $823.50. There is her annual premium. It says before taxes, so I don't need to add tax to that, which is great. Okay. This is how you can calculate this using a table. If you are less than $200,000 value on your house, it's really easy. You just read this table and go from there. You're over $200,000. Well, we did an example like that. That's kind of nice to look at. There's a second part to this question, though, which I think is kind of interesting. How could Stella reduce her annual insurance premium for this property? Well, there's a lot of different options for this one. Remember, we came back here and we talked about insured value versus risk. Well, if she can lower the insured value, that would mean that she has less, she'd pay less interest on this, or sorry, less insurance on this. However, you don't necessarily want to lower the value of your house, but she could switch to, say, standard instead of comprehensive. I go back and look at this chart here. You can see the standard is less than the comprehensive, so that could be an easy way to do that. Other thing I could do is she could do something to reduce the risk on her house. We've got the insured value and the risk. Maybe she has a fireplace. She got rid of her fireplace. That could work. Maybe she could change insurance providers. Maybe if she did not have a claim for a number of years, she would get that no claims discount. She could maybe install an alarm system. Some providers will offer you a discount if you install an alarm system. There's a bunch of different things that your insurance will cover that you can talk about as ways to reduce how much you're paying for insurance. Generally, talk to your insurance provider and say, hey, how can I reduce how much I'm paying? And work through it like that. Hope this has been a helpful look at home insurance, and I'll see you in the next video.